H.I.T, generating billions of dollars. But how that money is divided up has become a heated debate in the music industry. Some artists say that they aren't getting paid enough and don't even own their master recordings, sparking a trend of singers re-recording their albums. Our Steve Osunsami digs into music royalties.
This is a story that asks who sings for the singer, about what some are calling the fight for fairness in the music industry, and how many of the world's favorite performers and songwriters, like CeCe Peniston, for example, are saying that they should be getting much more of the dollar for their arts and efforts.
I just want to know that when I stream my favorite artist's music, that the money that I pay to that service and to the record company, that the artist is getting their fair cut.
The only thing I can say is that would be nice, which is why we're sitting here now.
Back in 1991, she sent the planet to the dance floor with her hit song Finally, which won her an award for Pop Songwriter of the Year. And over the decades, the lyrics she wrote would end up selling everything from a price comparison website in England to laundry detergent in the Philippines. So it was a surprise to many of her fans, this reporter included, when in July she shared this financial statement online. And she says it shows that during a recent calendar year, she earned a little more than $18,000 in royalties for music that's earned everyone else a whole lot more.
Looking at my songs at the gym, I'm looking at my songs in different stores. The amount that I saw from my vantage point looked to be a year of time, right?
The issues she and other artists now have are many, including old deals they signed with record companies and the way the industry divides profits. Much of this dates back more than 30 years, when record labels still made most of their money manufacturing actual CDs, tapes, and records, a time when they commanded as much as 90% of all money from music sales. But even though they sell most music today digitally with no physical product, the record labels still get about 59% of the money from music streamed online. And it's the label that pays the performer, depending on the deal, sometimes less than 15 cents for every dollar. And the songwriters, they often get the smallest cut of the dollar. And in the case of Beyonce's Break My Soul, for example, that's Mrs. Carter and 7 other credited writers who, under an industry agreement, share no more than 13.4% of profits from streaming.
A lot of people say that's ridiculous. A lot of people say it should be 50-50. A lot of people say it does make sense because the record companies are the ones who are actually marketing the records.
Jem Aswad is an industry reporter for Variety magazine and says that the popular streaming services like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and Tidal are rightly credited with saving the music business about 10 years ago. But the streaming services are also a new hand that gets a cut of the money. And from the same dollar bill from the music customer, they take about 28%.
The money that streaming generates is a fraction, per song, per album, is a fraction of what a CD used to. So it's generating money for superstars, but if you're a lower level artist, streaming is not making you very much money at all, and that is why you're hearing so many artists say, how can I have 180 million streams on this song and get $45? So it's gonna be forever, or it's gonna go down in flames.
In America, there is one young woman leading the battle for music creators, and her name is Taylor Swift.
It's me.
She is famously re-recording her first 6 studio albums because under an old record deal that she signed, she doesn't own any of the original recordings. And the story is typical. Up until a few years ago, her early recordings were making money for an entertainment executive named Scooter Braun, who bought her old record company. He then sold the recordings to a private equity firm in 2020 for $300 million. All this time, when people listen to those original recordings online, she loses out on many of the profits.
So we're talking about one of the biggest, if not the biggest, music artists in the entire world of the last 10 years, taking on the system and showing that you can be in control.
What she's doing here is more than clever. One of the many songs she's already re-recorded is Wildest Dreams, one of her biggest hits from 2014. Now here's the same section of that song from the version she re-recorded late last year, a recording she owns, and the differences are purposefully hard to hear. Just 4 hours after she hit send on the new recording, more than 2 million fans were streaming it on Spotify, which was way more than the original recording ever saw in a single day. And because she wrote the song, if anyone wants to use it in an ad or in this case a movie trailer for the animated film Spirit Untamed, they need to get her permission.
We'll get your family back, Spirit.
And now she's only going to say yes if they agree to use, guess what, the new recording, which gives her more of the dollar.
Why is this so important to you?
Because I think that artists deserve to own their work. I just feel very passionately about that.
What she's done as a really, frankly, fairly brilliant middle finger to the entire process is re-recording all those albums and making new albums out of them, putting bonus tracks on them so that she owns them. And she has explained this very clearly to her fans, saying, like, if you want to support me, if you want to support artists, please don't play the old version, play the new version.
And Taylor Swift is far from alone. Before he died, the artist formerly known as Prince, legends like Anita Baker, pop superstars like Rihanna and Ciara have all fought to own their recordings and earn more from music they created.
The greatest thing for me is now seeing it on the other side and owning my masters, really understanding how much you're missing out by not owning your record, by not being able to participate in a bigger way in the piece of the pie.
In England right now, more than 150 musicians are appealing to the British government for a bigger piece of digital profits, including rock and roll legends Paul McCartney, Annie Lennox, and Kate Bush. His 1985 song, Running Up That Hill, was one of the most streamed songs of this past year after people on social media rediscovered the track. But the record companies say it's not so simple and point out that their financial cut is actually getting smaller. We reached out to the Recording Industry Association of America that speaks for the labels, and they tell us that record companies put nearly 35% of their revenues back into artists, close to $6 billion each year in human and financial resources to help artists succeed and increase the value platforms pay for music. And then there's the reality that many of these artists are famous millionaires or even billionaires, and it can be hard for many music consumers to feel their pain.
Okay, with Taylor Swift in particular, yes, she's fighting for herself, but she is also fighting for all artists. Why should the average music fan care about this? If somebody can't make a living as a musician, if somebody can't make a living as a songwriter, they're going to find something else to do, and you're not going to have the music anymore. A huge solution for this would be to raise the cost of streaming, okay? It has been $10, around $10 a month for all the streaming services since it started, okay? And people are willing to pay more. They have done polls where people have said, yes, I would pay $2 a month more, but the streaming services are in such a ground war over market share, they just will not be the first one to raise the price and thus lose a little bit of that market share.
We reached out to Spotify as well, and they told us that musicians are getting a bigger piece of the pie and that more musicians than ever before are able to earn a living making music because streamers like Spotify aren't limited by what they can fit into an old record store. A spokesperson shares that for the first time this year, over 1,000 artists generated over $1 million on Spotify alone. And a group that speaks for all the streaming services tells us that they know that songwriters and artists have voiced concerns, including about the terms of their contracts with publishers or labels, but that the streaming services are not a party. When we met with CeCe Peniston at a studio near her home in Arizona, she shared that her career hasn't always been about champagne wishes and caviar dreams. And she, too, has decided to re-record her biggest hit. And here it is, on its way to the streaming services by the end of the year.
I'm in a great place now.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell you God has been blessing me.
Yes.
But there have been times where I'm like, okay, is this what I've arrived to? I'm looking at my wall. I'm looking at my gold albums, and I'm like, okay, how is it that I've gone into different stores and I've heard my music, or like I told you, the gym, or licensing or TV commercials, and my account is looking this way. So I thank God for the place where I'm at now, that I learned about everything.
The best way to support her, she says, is to come to her shows, because here there are fewer outstretched hands between the musicians and the dollars from their fans. It's why many performers today spend so much time on the road.
I love performing live. It brings me the best joy. Like, when I look out and see the crowd and they're performing the song with me and they're smiling, I'm like, this is why I do this. This is why I love it, you know?
If you could, you know, wave a magic wand at it and fix it tomorrow, what would be the change?
People need to quit being greedy. And I'm just going to say it just like that. Why can't you make as well as me? Why can't we make money together? Why can't we be successful together?
It's beyond time, she says, for more people who love their music to sing for the singer.
And understand that artists, we're here to make the world happy. Mm-hmm. Our mission is to heal through song. Mm-hmm. It's to touch people. It's to take people away from their bad day to a good day. So keep us smiling and happy so we can do the same for you.
Finally, it is happening for CeCe Peniston and many other artists.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.